Hey, good evening, you guys. Hey, so I want to utilize the discussion board just to support each other and really share our wins for the week. So, because no one was able to get on the call today, I decided that I would go ahead and do a video, and that way we can use the discussion boards on our own time because I know that the time that the calls are currently an issue. So let's just continue to support each other using what we have. Okay, so we have the discussion boards, and I really want to be able to use this a lot more so that we can really grow this group out and use it for what it's supposed to be for, and that's to support one another and really, cheer for one another and just create a community where we're able to, where I'm able to provide education and support you guys on your goals, but then where we're able to come together and, support each other. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about weekly wins. I think it's really important for us to kind of sit back and think about, what are we doing better in our lives? And every day is a chance to be better, right? So I want to share with you my weekly win, and I really hope that you will engage as well. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory. Okay. Monday, so let's go a little bit farther back actually. I signed up to take the Florida real estate licensing exam. I had taken the course last year, and then a lot of things happened. We were selling a house in Georgia, and we were buying a house in Jacksonville, Florida. And here I was taking a real estate course. So I was taking the course, and then I had to kind of rush through it. So I wasn't really able to study, and we were in the process of doing all those other things. And so and then life came up, and I really just started doing other things besides studying. So I put it off, and I think honestly, I put it off because I didn't believe in myself enough to do it. Um, I really, I've always had kind of some test anxiety ever since PA school, and that didn't when that didn't work out, and I developed test anxiety there, and I ended up kind of self-sabotaging out of PA school. And it was because once I failed a test, I didn't know how to recover from that. And then I failed another test and then another test. And so this past Monday, I was taking pre-test because I had scheduled my real estate exam. I know I'm going all over the place. It's been a crazy day. But I scheduled my real estate exam a few weeks ago, and I said, okay, I'm going to put forth the effort and I'm going to do the best that I can. And I scheduled it for 2/22/22, which, that was pretty cool. That was the day that it was scheduled for. And, I've been doing a lot of other things. I'm writing for people. I've definitely become a serial entrepreneur at this point, only because I refuse to be an employee right now. And so I'm going to utilize whatever I can, that especially if it's something that I'm gifted in that I can help someone else with, whether it's mentoring coaches, writing for other people, health coaching, personal training, whatever it looks like, nutrition coaching. I got a couple clients that I'm working with nutrition. Whatever it looks like, I'm going to, make ends meet without having to go and get a job. That's just where I'm at. I'm not at a place in my life anymore where I'm going to conform, and I just don't want to be limited anymore. And I know that the abundance is created through faith and works. So that's what I'm really focusing on. So I had scheduled the real estate exam for this past Tuesday, 2/22/22. On Monday, and I'd been studying, I'd been taking pre-tests here and there, but on Monday, my family wasn't home, and I said, okay, I'm gonna study and I'm gonna take some pre-tests. And you guys, I failed every pre-test. I think I took like 3 or 4 of them, and I failed every one. Now, that is a blow for someone who already struggles believing in herself. Okay. So I'm sharing this because I know you guys look at me and you're like, oh, she works out, she eats better, she does this. I still struggle with believing in myself. Okay. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, because it's very important. I could have on Monday, and believe me, I thought about it. I could have said, you know what, I'm just not ready yet. I'm going to reschedule this test. But I chose to just go, because pass or fail, at least I could say that I showed up. And I think that's what we really have to get past, is it doesn't always necessarily matter what the outcome is. We just have to be willing to show up, because we don't know what the outcome is going to be, you know? So anyway, Tuesday morning, I was like, okay, I know I need to go to the gym, because otherwise I'm going to be worthless to take this exam. So I did go to the gym and I studied a little bit, but I didn't stress out too much. But then I came home, I got Jazzy to school, my husband had an appointment, and I started kind of getting a little panicky. So I got dressed. I wanted to dress for success, so I did. I dressed up. I have a good friend of mine that I grew up with. She's like a big sister to me, and I remember 20 plus years ago we were in college together, and she would dress up for her tests, and I would be like, "Why are you dressing up so much?" And she would say, "You have to dress for success." And she was right. So here I am 20 plus years later, and I'm finally listening to her. But I did. I said, okay, I'm going to dress up. I'm going to dress for success. I'm going to dress like I know that I'm worthy of this. And I did. But I started getting a little panicky. And then I said, nope, I'm not going to do this. Because what I was doing was taking myself out. I was taking myself out of the game. And so I took a couple deep breaths and I was just like, okay, I'm not going to do this. And I want to make sure that I put in there also, I did eat well, because your brain has to have fuel. So I made sure that I ate a good breakfast. I got ready. I got myself under control so I didn't have that panic attack. And then I got in the car. It was about 8:10. I was supposed to be on the base at 8 because it was on base. I was supposed to be to the classroom by 8:30, 8:45. So I was already leaving a little bit behind when I was supposed to leave, just because I had to get myself under control and really just make sure I didn't lose it before I even got there. So I did all that. I got in the car, I get to the end of the road, and here I am in school traffic. And I'm like, oh, okay. I finally get onto the main road. I get down to the end, I turn, I get on the road that leads to the base, and I go through 2 more school zones. By this time, it's getting pretty close to the time that I was supposed to be there. And my exam was supposed to start at 9, but on the paper it said be there no later than 8:45. Okay, so I got a military background. When they say no later than 8:45, I'm like, okay, I got to be there earlier than that, right? So then I get to the base and the line's backed up at the gate. I'm telling you guys, it was one thing after the other. I finally get through the gate. I know the road that the place is on, but I couldn't find the building. So then I finally find the building number, but it's like, it's a bank. It's the bank. There's one huge building on Naval Air Station Mayport here in Jacksonville, Florida, that it has the bank, post office, and a bunch of other stuff in it. But here's the thing, unless you walk around to the other side, you're not going to know about that other stuff, which is exactly what happened. So here I am, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to park here. It's already like, I think it was like 8:42 by that point. I'm on the phone. I call my husband. I'm trying really hard. I'm like, I'm not going to freak out right now. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to let myself do this, because normal operations, Jody would have been freaking out by then. So I call my husband. Thank God he's more calm. And he said, you can't find it? And I was like, no. So by this time I'm out the car and I'm walking, because I was like, okay, this is the building number. I don't know where it's at. I'm just going to walk, and then I'll have to ask somebody. So sure enough, I'm passing. I asked this one guy, I said, hey, do you by any chance know where the FSCJ school thing is here? And he said, yeah, it's around the other side of the building. So FSCJ is, the community college here. So they have an actual classroom setting on the base. But I would never have found it had I not asked, because it was on the other side of the building, kind of tucked into the corner. So I get in there, then I have to use the restroom really bad. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the bathroom now. I get in there, it's like 8:46. Okay. I could have quit so many times, and that I could have given up so many times. But I did pay for the exam. I had to pay like $30. And I couldn't give up. I just couldn't give up, because I was just like, if I fail this thing and have to pay for it again, that's one thing. But if I just don't show up, that's I can't forgive myself for that. That's going to be harder to forgive myself. So I'm just going to keep trying. And the worst thing she can say is, you're late, right? So I went and used the bathroom, and then I went in there, and luckily she was really cool. She told me to hold on. So I went, because she was helping someone else. So I went into the room and I just waited, and it was okay. Everything was okay. So the moral of the story is, I'm not even getting to the end, and I know this is going to be kind of long. I hope you guys watch it, but the moral of the story is, I could have quit before I got there, but it was okay. I was making it an issue, but it wasn't an issue. Everything was fine. She signed me in, no big deal. I got the test, I got to the test. Now, remember, I failed 4 pre-tests, right? The day before. So in my mind, I have to be very careful at this point, because I know that I'm not great at memorization. And I also know that if I get to the test and, say number 1, I don't know the answer, I'm going to start doubting myself a lot. So before I started, she gave me like this dry erase. It was like scratch paper, because there's calculations on the test and stuff like that. And so, you have to have some scratch paper. Before I started, I wrote down some things, and I wish I could have had my phone, because I would have taken a picture. I can't remember exactly what I wrote down, but one of the things was, you are worthy of this. Another one was, you deserve all great things in life. Another one was, Lord, you know my heart. And another one was, if your will be done, I will pass this test. Something to that effect. Basically, these were reminders that I had to write down, because if I got to that test and there were some questions that I didn't know, I was going to start second guessing myself. I was going to take myself out. So before I even started, I wrote down those things. There is power in words, okay? There's power in the words that we tell ourselves. So I'm sharing this because I really hope that it can help you, and I really want you to understand the power behind the words that we tell ourselves. So I wrote those things down. Now, I did open the test. I finally got through, the beginning part. I opened up, I get to the first question, and I don't know the answer. Yeah. But I didn't set myself up for failure. I had set myself up for success. So I told myself right then and there, I said, okay, I'm just going to answer the questions that I know, and I'm going to mark, because it had on the computer, it had a way you can mark the questions and come back to them if you didn't know them. So I was like, I'm not going to stress. I am not going to stress over this. I'm going to mark the questions that I, don't know. And then I would write the numbers down. So if there was like, 2 answers that I wasn't sure of, I would write those 2 answers down. Okay. So then I could go back and kind of look at it again and choose the best answer. Okay. This is something I didn't do in PA school, but I remember towards the end, I did have a good instructor who, she sat down with me, and these were some of the tips that she had given me. And here I am, that was 2011. So 11 years later, here I am using those tips. Hopefully I can find her email or something at some point, or get in touch with her and just tell her thank you. But I had to do that. So I get to, there was 100 questions. Well, I thought there was 100. There ended up being 103. So that's a whole different part of the story. There was 100 questions. So I answered the ones that weren't so hard, and because they were so hard, but they weren't as hard. They weren't. I could figure out the answer. We'll just put it that way. And then the other ones I would write down, and I would mark them. Right. So I would write down different things. I had like different strategies that I was using. I would put like A, B, C, D, and I would read, and then because I don't do too well with reading on a computer either, as far as like taking a test. And so I put like A, B, C, D, and then I would read each one at a time and mark, okay, that one's not right, or that one's not right, or maybe that one is, and then, whatever. Anyway, I got to the end before I reviewed. So by this time it had taken me, I think it was over an hour at that point. I had to use the bathroom again. And she had said if I needed to take a break and use the bathroom, grab a sip of water, that was okay. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went and got a sip of water. She was fine with it. And then I went to use the restroom, and I came back and I sat there. So before I even reviewed, I just sat there, took a deep breath. And I said, okay, Jody, you've got this. And I came back up to the computer and I started reviewing. One of the other things that I promised myself is if I did not know 100% that an answer was correct, if I had already marked an answer down, I was just going to leave it. Because you got to go with your gut sometimes. Now, if I knew that the answer that I marked was incorrect, and there were a couple of those, then I would change it to the one that I realized was correct. But that's one of the promises that I made myself. It was commitment I made to myself, because I know that I will take myself out. I will second guess myself. I will change answers that were right. I've done it. I definitely did it in PA school. So I had to learn from that experience and not do it this time. So anyway, I finally got through the questions. I get to 100, and it was funny because I pushed the next on the computer and I had another question, and I was just like, what the heck? That was only supposed to be 100. Well, there was 103. Okay. So I had to do 3 more questions that I didn't even know were there, and I really just kind of laughed at myself, because I was just like, wow, here I was kind of stressing about this, and I'm getting through it. So I made sure that I reviewed all the questions that I had marked before I completed the test, and then I completed it. I'd been in there for, I think, 2.5 hours at that point, maybe a little over. I know it was at least 2 hours. And I was like, well, I'm just going to give this to God. So I go up to the front, and I'm just like, oh, I have no idea what to expect at this point. I honestly didn't know that I was going to get the pass or fail that day. I thought maybe they were going to send it to me in the mail or something to make me wait. But after I signed out and gave her the materials back, the dry erase thing, and, the calculator, because I had to have a calculator for it. When I gave her all that back and signed out, she printed up a piece of paper and she turned it over. And I didn't know what it was, but here it is. Let's see it. I'm gonna have to get rid of my background so you can see the mess in the background. That was my win for the week. She gave me this piece of paper and I saw that, and literally, you guys, I'm telling you, I was just like, thank God. Now there was other people in there testing, so I had to be careful. I didn't want to be too loud. I was just like, I threw my hands up in the air and I was just like, thank God. Like, wow, I just did that. And I tell you, I felt so limitless after that because all everybody else saw when I posted about this, all they saw was that, right? They didn't see any of the inner work that I had to do that day. None of it. And that's okay. But I'm sharing this with you because I need you to understand I have to put in a lot of effort into myself too. And these are the things that we have to be aware of. We have to be willing to do these things. We have to become aware of our weaknesses because that is the only way that we are ever going to get anywhere in life. And I'm telling you this because I'm finally coming out on the other side of a really dark time in my life. And it feels good. And I don't have to worry about things like I did before. Because as long as I keep changing me and becoming a better version of me, everything around me is going to get better. And I believe that for the first time. I truly, truly believe that. So I'm sharing this with you because if you're in a place where maybe you don't believe in yourself, or you're stressed, or things are out of your control, or whatever it looks like, stay the course. Stay the course. Be aware of the things that you need to work on. Be aware of your weaknesses. Be aware of who you are, who you're meant to be. Know that you are worthy of all great things. And be willing to accept that fact. Okay? I hope and pray that this has moved you in some way, shape, or form. And I'm really grateful that you're here. And I believe that we're going to grow this group out and we're going to make it amazing. So, whatever you're going through right now, whatever you're dealing with, just know you're in my prayers and I'm not going anywhere. And I know when the time's right, you'll be able to show up too. God bless you guys. Have an amazing evening, day, whatever time you're looking at this. But just remember, most of all, you're worthy of all great things. I'll talk to you later.